Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Sass, and this is the Path of Exile 2 newest balance patch 0.2.0e. Really excited to see this one. They've been putting in a lot of work over the last couple of weeks, doing some updates and changing a few things. They've adjusted some of the monster speed, they've adjusted some of the sizes of the maps, adjusted a bunch of the skills and things as well. So it's quite a bit for us to go through, but if you haven't had a chance to check out the patch notes yet, if you'd like to read along, there is a link to the patch notes down in the description below. Feel free to check those out on your own time, but we are going to go through each change one by one, checking them all out and have a little discussion about them. This is pulled from a live stream that I did the other day where we checked out the patch notes before jumping in and testing out all of the new changes so far. Really enjoying how things are feeling. But yeah, let's dive on in, see what's changed. GGG just dropped 0.2.0e, their newest fix slash update, whatever you want to call it. Very exciting stuff. This patch contains many of the changes discussed in our recent news posts, including changes to Act 3, player balance changes, and new runes attributes, as well as other improvements and bug fixes. So the major changes they've made is to the Act 3 areas. We haven't made it there yet, but we'll probably get into that most likely towards the end of the stream tonight. I have made it to Act 3 with my mercenary, so I played around a little bit in Act 3 off stream, so I kind of have an idea of how things are set up before as well. We played a few characters through so far. They've removed the dead end in Drowned City as well as part of the level that leads up to it. This reduces the overall size of the area quite a lot. More importantly, prevents the frustrating situation where you go the wrong way and have to backtrack. This is really nice to see that they are kind of shrinking the maps down a little bit. That has been a point of contention for quite a few people in the community. It's just that the campaign just takes way too long to kind of grind through until you get to maps, which obviously the end game is where people are trying to reach. I enjoy the campaign myself. Personally, I don't really care. Like, the map could be, you know, an hour long to get through. As long as there's lots of cool stuff to find, then I'm happy. But I know a lot of people are kind of like struggled with the size of the maps, and I believe this changes some of the end game maps as well. Exile had the same problem as the Drowned City, and we're doing the exact same fix, but in addition, this has a second dead end removed where the entrance to the treasure vault is located in the present version of this area. So again, just shrinking some stuff down. Apex of Filth has had the layout updated to resemble more of a linear flow like Agarat, and that's nice. Agarat was pretty fun. Making it smaller and faster to navigate. Azog Bog is now more rectangular and slightly smaller. That's kind of nice. The bog takes a long time to slog through until you get to the next camp. Infested Barrens now has a bottleneck requiring you to go past the entrance to the Matland waterways near the start. Meaning there are less things you need to try to find in this area. Jungle exit to the Infested Barrens has been made more clear and moved the checkpoint further, so you're more likely to see it. This area has also been made slightly smaller. Okay. Some variations of the Chimeral Wetlands have had the Temple of Chaos and Jacani's Machinarium entrances moved closer together to reduce backtracking. This is really nice because you do travel. You travel back and forth because you got to hit the Temple of Chaos first and then go find Jacani's Machinarium, which you can do either or, but it's nice that they're next to each other because you're going to end up going from one to the other. Added an extra soul core to both Jacani's Machinarium and Jacani's Sanctum to reduce the average amount of time it takes to find them. This is really nice to see. You can just quickly activate the soul cores really easily now. Checkpoint at the end of Jacani's Machinarium then moved to be beside the final stone altar, so you can quickly return to the altar upon finding the soul core. Really cool little touch. You don't have to run all the way around. There's like a like a big room that you couldn't access, that you had to go all the way around. It was really weird why the checkpoint was on the other side. Nice they moved that. Some sections of water in the Matlan waterways have been merged together to reduce the total amount of necessary levers to pull. Thank God, Matlan waterways was just ridiculous. Just run through the waterway and then pull a lever and then pull another, and it's just no fun gameplay. Nice to see. Increased the instance timeout for areas with side areas off them. Reduce how often you return from a side area and find the main area has been reset. This is kind of cool. Like that. It's kind of annoying sometimes, like traveling back and forth to town, and then I'll do some leveling up. When I go back in, like everything's kind of been reset. That's nice to see that you'll be able to travel around a little more, not have to grind those levels over and over again if you do transfer through. Added a few more checkpoints to a handful of areas that didn't have sufficient checkpoints. Checkpoints are nice. I like it. It's a good little fix. It's helped speed up the maps a little bit. Density of areas has been adjusted to account for level generation changes in this patch. Okay. It just tweaked a bunch of little things. Obviously your monster density will change as well, depending on what the sizes are. Alright, so we got a bunch of what I would call buffs to pretty much all of the characters. A lot of different character builds got a nice little bump up, which was great to see. The player balance changes, the bleed and chaos inoculation changes. So I'm running right now on my Huntress, I'm running a bleed, basically a Bleed Herald Huntress. I'm just going to try and make everything bleed and then blow it up using the Blood Herald. That'll probably work for most of it. I'll probably have to spec into some lightning at some point. That lightning strike staff is pretty strong. Or that lightning spear, I think it is. But nice to see they did some bleed changes. I noticed they also did a bunch of changes for breaking armor, which is nice too, because my mercenary, I've been running an armor break mercenary, so bleeding no longer only considers damage dealt to the target's life. Damage dealt to energy, shield, or mana now causes bleeding. This is a really cool touch. You don't have to like eat through those shields and stuff anymore to be able to hit your bleeds and stuff and get those combos going. So this will be a nice speed up for us, especially with our build. Chaos inoculation now additionally makes you immune to bleeding. That's pretty cool. Most passive skill tree clusters that granted additional stun threshold based on your maximum energy shield now also grant additional ailment threshold based on your maximum energy shield. That's pretty cool. Nice, because stun threshold was only so useful to a certain point. But if you can get ailment thresholds as well off of those passives, that's going to make them worth a lot more. Nice. Added new gem and time loss jewel modifiers for additional ailment threshold based on your maximum energy shield. Okay, so that's a whole new stat block that they've added, basically. Just a bunch of bonuses, which is really cool to see, because getting stunned, frozen, shocked, that kind of thing was really overbearing with the 020 update. And I know that was something they talked about on the interviews and stuff as well. So, the jewel modifier for additional stun threshold based on your maximum energy shield now rolls 5 to 15%, previously 5 to 10. Existing items can be improved to new ranges using Divine Orb. The time loss jewel modifier for additional stun threshold based on your maximum energy shield now rolls 1 to 2%, previously 1%. Okay. But just expanding the maximums, basically. Sorceress specific changes. Arc now releases damaging pulses when shocked enemies are hit, but can no longer shock. Does not consume the shock. Oh. Arc now deals 9 to 51 at gem level 1, scaling up to 82 to 62 previously, so a little bit of a bump in damage as well. Pulse deals 5 to 31 level 1. It's pretty good. Not too shabby at all. We have 31. So that completely changes how arc works now then. Interesting. It reacts more like a herald then. I wonder how that'll work with Herald Starblood. Interesting. Winter Nail gains bonus elemental damage when passing through other elemental orbs like Solar Orb, Overstorms, Frostbomb. Incinerate's fire exposure duration is now 8 seconds, previously 2 seconds. That's pretty good. That's a massive bonus. Mana Tempest can now be used with all spells. It has been changed to cause powered spells to split to additional targets instead of chaining or forking. Nice, so it'll do full damage. That's handy. Frostbolt's explosion radius is now 2.4 meters. Big buff there. Previously 1.6. Freeze and build up. Ice Nova and Ice Nova when casting our Frostbolt are now matching. Okay. Previously only 50% when casting out Frostbolt was. Frostbolt now has an exposure duration of 8 seconds, previously 5. Okay. Mana Remnants now has 25% chance to spawn a Remnant on killing an enemy affected by elemental ailment instead of only shock. Now spawns a remnant on critically hitting a target affected by an elemental ailment more than once every 2 seconds. So, oh, cool. Mana Remnants is neat now. Heck yeah. That's really good. Before it was, you know, you could only work on shock, so it was kind of like if you're not running electric, then there's really no point in taking it, but we could use that with, we could use that with fire. That could be fun. That could be very fun. Spreading ignites such as from wildfire support or the crackle deep unique ring now occurs after a 1 second delay, previously 2 seconds. So it cuts the time in half. Causes ignite to spread to enemies within 1.5 meter radius, previously 2. So faster spreading, but just a smaller circle. That's pretty good. Lots of nice little tweaks I've seen so far. Huntress specific changes. So this is us. Parried enemies can no longer evade your attacks. Wow. That's really strong. You're guaranteed a hit on a parry. That's pretty good. It makes parry super useful now. Rapid Assault's explosion now inflicts bleeding on hit and has radius 2.4 meters. Previously 2. Explosion now deals 142%, 312% of attack damage at gem levels 5 to 20. So a lower percentage. Half, actually. Okay. I wonder why they dropped the damage so much. There's no... Oh, because it inflicts bleed, right. So most likely, most of that attack is down into the bleed damage. See? Yeah, that makes more sense. Spear Field now has spear duration of 10 seconds, previously 6, less longer. Explosion now deals 17 to 49% of attack damage, previously 17 to 37%. Nice, we got a duration bonus and an attack damage bonus. That's a big buff. You might have to check out Spear Field. All the blood no longer destroys the corpses of rare and unique monsters when they explode, allowing you to use ritual sacrifice on the rare monsters. Very cool. Definitely going with ritual sacrifice. Huntress. That's awesome. Warrior specific changes. The temporal weapon skill granted by the Smith of Katava against the Anvil Ascendancy passive skill now causes each strike of the Anvil empowers your next 3 melee attacks with channeling, previously 1. A maximum of 12 empowered attacks, previously. Whoa. It channels 25% faster. Almost now deals 80 to 290% of attack damage. It was 1 to 20 previously, 175 to 714. Okay. So they shrunk the max percentage down a lot, but tripled the amount of empowered. That's really good. You basically just have to smith less, which is kind of nice. That was a weird addition, but an interesting one. It made me want to play a warrior, which I might end up playing a warrior. Kind of go along with what we've got going. Because the Smith Katava is really, really cool. A neat addition that they added. So working detonated by war cries as well as slams. Armor break inflicted on players no longer causes the players to take increased physical damage. Full broken armor on non-players range 20% increased physical damage. That's pretty cool. Losing your armor isn't like the end of the world anymore. Armor break inflicted lasts 4 seconds. Even armor break, they slowed it down too. But we get to keep the 12 second. That's interesting. Kind of a large change, especially for I'm running armor break on my mercenary. That's gonna be crazy strong now. Very nice. Stormcaller's arrows bolt now has an impact radius of 1.4 meters, previously 1.1 to 1.9, so big buff. Any target is hit by Stormcaller arrows bolt shocked, also shocks enemies, plus it's advancing. Very nice. Lightning Rod now deals 26 to 94% of attack damage. Gem levels 1 to 20. Previously 20 to 72%. So damage buff there too. Arrow duration 20 seconds. Previously 12. So it lasts longer. Holy. Ranger's got a nice little buff. Lightning Arrow's beam targeting radius is now 3.2 meters. Previously 2.4. Tornado Shot now has a maximum tornado duration of 15 seconds at all gem levels. It doubled it. Ally support is no longer restricted to strikes or slams and can support any melee attack you use yourself. That's really cool. Glory used by Hammer of the Gods, the Spear of Solaris, is now no longer consumed if you are interrupted while using the skill. Nice, nice. It's more of a bug fix, balance. New support gem. Added a support gem called Inhibitor that prevents charges from being consumed, but increases the damage of the supported skill by 4% for each type of charge you have. Inhibitor is offered at uncut support tier plus. Interesting. Ooh, that could be really strong with the Smith. Because you could still go for like frenzy charges and endurance charges. But instead of consuming them all the time, you just use them as like a flat damage booster. Be pretty good. And 12% bonus is nice. Delirium changes. Delirium encounters now last approximately 2.5 times longer. The front of the Delirium fog can now continue expanding while doing other mechanics, though the back of the fog will still pause. This prevents scenarios where you pause the fog on the edge of it and accidentally end the Delirium. Starboxes now pause Delirium fog when they are opened, in addition to the pause that they already had a completion. Okay. Monster speed changes. Many human monsters, including the cults in Freythorn God, Faradun and the tribal humans in Act 3 have behavior where they can interrupt their melee attacks. If the player moves too far out of range during the attack, especially for attacks that have multiple hits like swipe left and swipe right. These interrupt events have been primarily removed, especially on things that were attacking very fast, as it caused the monsters to be relentlessly able to pursue and attack you, giving you no time to engage or use skills between their attacks. Wow, that's a big change. We're not gonna get like swarm stun locked by those Faradun guys. The cultists are pretty rough in Freythorn too, they're so fast. That's really nice to see. Act 1, the haste aura monster modifier no longer appears on monsters that are already fast. Very nice. No speedy Gonzagas. Werewolf prowlers and tendril prowlers now will enter a walking stance as opposed to running after performing a melee action. They will only begin running again if you get a certain distance from them. This behavior has been applied to many fast monsters. Interesting. They have like different stages of chase. That could help, especially with the swarm. That swarming behavior that you get is just, it's out of control. I like it. Hungering stalkers now have 12% less life and damage. We're already relatively weak, but we have lowered it a bit further to account for the high movement speed and attack speed. They are intended to engage and attack quickly, but be weak and die fast. Reduce the number of bloom serpents found in the red veil. Thank God. And bloom serpents are freaking annoying. Have the number of venomous crabs and venomous crab matriarch in hunting grounds. Okay. Cultists of Freythorn no longer have interrupt events. Attacks as described above. Cultists in Freythorn wielding axes and maces in Freythorn will now walk after performing a melee action, only running again once you exit a certain distance. Very nice. This is that speed adjustment that we've been talking about. Slightly decrease the number of cultists in Freythorn. Thank God. Blood cretins on death. Blood pools have their duration decreased from 6 seconds to 4 seconds. This is an awesome gem. I like that. This is really nice. It's just the little baby looking things where you'd kill them and they'd explode in a big pool of blood and it would just eat your life so fast. They always have like this massively huge fix the area of effect to match the visual more closely. Nice. It's awesome. I'm not gonna get eaten out completely by these things. They're so annoying. Reduce the overall density of more challenging monsters in Ogham Manor. This is pretty cool. It's pretty hairy in Ogham, so that was what we just finished, leading up to fighting the Act 1 boss there, where we fight the werewolf guy. That whole area through the manor is just very, very tight, and it gets out of hand. Act 2 boulder ants have been replaced by Risen Mariketh in the Valley of the Titans. The density of monsters in this area has also been adjusted. Nice. The Faradun have all been modified to remove the interrupt events on their attacks as described above. Cool. Fire Tusk Boar, this is Act 3. Fire Tusk Boar and Antolian chargers are now more likely to push you to the side instead of pushing you along with them when they charge you. Nice. I've gotten caught on those a few times. Lost City monster pack composition has been adjusted to result in far less ranged monsters. Very cool. Massively adjusted the Azok bog, firstly by the aforementioned changes to interrupt events, but also changing the monster composition in the area to have less ranged and elite monsters. Okay. Fixed an issue where slither spitters, poison spray, and venom crypts was dealing chaos damage instead of physical damage unintentionally. Right, because poison isn't supposed to deal chaos. We're talking about that in the interview. Oh, it's a scissor in there. Nice. Cool, cool. Boss changes. Over the amount and size of chaos reigns, the purple ones, and then Viper Nebwatsi fight. Nice. Viper's a, that's a bitch. Right? I think the visual left afterwards faster. Make the following drop locations more obvious. Look small, the Beast Lord can no longer recharge energy shield while they are in the air. He uses his flame breath less often. The number of times they can change locations to quite reduced. Okay. That's pretty cool. Area of Zeus. Zaglucian has had their ground foliage removed in order to make its effects more visible. This is kind of cool. I like when they clean things up a little bit, make it easier for us to see. I don't mind dying to things, but dying to things I can't see is annoying. Player minion changes. Ooh, player minions. Hey, anybody running a minion build? Here's your chance. Over it while you can. Oh, you've changed the way that minion revive timers work. Uh-oh. When your first minion dies, it sets the revive timer to 7.5 seconds as before, but each successive minion that dies increases it by less and less, so cap to max 7.5 seconds. It should heavily mitigate the situation where most of your minions are dead, but the revive timer keeps resetting to 7.5 seconds over. Oh, that's kind of a nice change, actually. It won't actually go to 7.5 until you lose all. Your minions, I think that's basically what it's saying. I'll only increase a little bit. Interesting. Wonder how that'll work out. Disenchanting a bind specter or tame beast gem will unbind them, allowing you to use them again. That's pretty cool. Especially if you can't find gems. Tamed beast can outfit through gaps the same size the player can. That's probably helpful, having all of them all year round. Little minions. This is some pretty good changes for the player minion builds. Routing changes. We have now finished adding all of the mods to runes for caster weapons. So Desert, Glacial, Storm, Iron, Body, Mind, Rebirth, Inspiration, Stone, and Vision runes all now work on wands and staves with their own set of modifiers. That's really cool. I was wondering when you were going to add gems and stuff for, or runes and stuff for weapons. There you have it. You can now add them to your magic weapons. That's pretty cool. We were just discussing some new runes that have been added. So all the wands, staves, I believe that includes scepters as well. All now have their own runes, so very, very cool. Renly's abandoned shop in Ogre Village now also has a blank rune which Renly can forge into any elemental rune of your choosing in case you didn't find any up to that point. This is cool. Nice touch. Added 12 artificial orbs, or artificer's orbs, to fixed locations throughout the campaign, allowing you to craft them more often. Nice. This is cool. Heck yeah, give me more artificer orbs. I can actually use all the runes that I've found. Added 3 new types of runes. Ooh. Or attributes, allowing you to fix early game requirement issues. Adept, Robust, and Resolve. Very nice. This thing that is probably our strength, dexterity, and intelligence. I'm assuming we can now buff with runes, so that's pretty cool. If you're just shy of being able to use like a specific ring or something like that, will help solve that issue with the runes. Very nice touch. Finding rare monsters in endgame. During endgame, a common issue is missing a rare monster in the corner of the map that you didn't happen to explore. In order to mitigate this issue, we changed rares to show up on the minimap at all times. Oh, okay. Nice touch. Other improvements, added a rune to a fixed location in the Titan Grotto. I open that. Increased the number of armor, scraps, and blackstone whetstones, smith whetstones that can be found in the modded quarry. That's really cool. I'm excited to get there. Upgrades. A lot of them upgrades. Dread Servant's Undead Tornadoes no longer benefit from additional projectile modifiers, now damage far less frequently. Okay, so Antillion's Antlands Chargers charge is now more likely to push you to side to drink long. They also now have less antennas, more fodder when found in map areas. Okay. This is must be endgame maps they're talking about now. Wrathbreaker and Kadron, the High Lord, who had their damage reduced. Oh, okay. Wrathbreaker I didn't think was all that bad. But Kadron was always like super OP, and it's just because he's got so many like random minions and stuff. Get the dudes up on top and like throw spears at you. Added lightning to rogue added lighting to rogue exiles. Reduce the likelihood of losing track of them. Further improvements to the pushiness of various monsters, but less pushing. Alright, so into the bug fixes. There's a couple of like pretty big ones in here that explain some of like damage scaling and stuff that we've been seeing off the start. Fixed a bug where blood boils from the ritualist ascendancy didn't propagate if the monster exploded on death, such as when using Herald of Blood. I thought we didn't get our ascendancy yet, so we didn't have to deal with that. Fixed a bug where divine orbs were affecting fracture modifiers. That hurts. Fracture orbs are like the new big thing. Fixed a bug where unique jewels that affect passives in radius were not functioning correctly with small attribute passive skills or small class specific passive skills. So that's any of your like minions in an area get extra whatever damage. It's like if you had passive skills that would give you an increased percentage of that, you'll probably notice a big difference in a lot of those like some area spells, AoE spells kind of thing, which I'm assuming is like not the heralds, like the other the soul gems. I think it's the soul gems that allow you to get those. Fixed a bug where partial armor break had an infinite duration. If you were the target never had fully broken armor. Oh, maybe that's why my mercenary is so strong. Interesting. I'll have to test him out. I'll have to test him out at some point. Fixed a bug where the combust from the temper weapon skill granted by against the Anvil Smith of ascendancy passive skill was failing to deal damage. Well, that's a bummer. I think they fixed that. Fixed a bug where taming a beast in the trial secondless could prevent you from progressing the encounters for real this time. So apparently that's the second pass on that fix. To see. Fixed a bug where manifested weapons could fail to hit the target if they were too close to them. Just like all targets. Fixed a bug where Whirlwind Lance just skedaddled when supported by a fork. Yes. Skedaddled that is a legitimate voting term. Game design term. I like it. It's golden. Fixed a performance issue with Whirlwind Lance. Fixed a bug where it was possible to apply Thorns damage to yourself, such as through using the Crown of the Pale King and Fire Flower unique items. Really? Interesting. Fixed a bug where Electrocute was not counting towards per elemental ailment on the enemy. Okay. So if you're running like a multi-element build, you'll probably notice a nice little boost for Electrocute now. Fixed a bug where Bloodhound's Mark could have an incorrect heavy stun build-up. Not sure if that's a buff or a nerf. We'll find out. Fixed a bug where Unsteady Tempo was able to support channeling skills, although it had no effect when it did. That's strange. Okay. Fixed a bug where strong boxes would sometimes fail to open. I had that happen once. My mercenary had one, it just would not open. Fixed an issue where canceling out of the open animation for Exile's Torment unique strongbox would cause it to not open out. Fixed a bug where Essence of the Infinite was dealing damage far too early. Fixed an issue where the Sandspit map was failing to add additional packs of monsters. Fixed a bug where a force field would appear in the middle of the boss arena, the Copper Citadel map. Interesting. Fixed a bug where you could become stuck in unwalkable terrain when using the Alpine Ridge or Castaway map boss checkpoints. Fixed the bug where HUD maps were unable to be completed if no one was present. Fixed the bug where fixed the bug that caused desync to occur when trying to walk around the default map device in a hideout. Interesting. Fixed a bug where parry could become unbound from your skill bar after changing areas when using a controller. Fixed a bug where skills were disabled if you were revived while spectating party members when using a controller. Fixed a bug where you prevented from leveling up your companions when using a controller. A lot of little like controller QLs. Bug where split keyboard pop-up stated projectiles that split fired a number of targets within 4 meters when actual radius is 6 meters. Fixed a client crash that could occur with Ancestral Warrior Totem replay. Fixed a client crash related to applying the Impaled debuff. Might be why we had a few issues at the beginning. Fixed three other client crashes. Fixed 2 instance crashes. So very nice. The patch may take roughly 15 minutes to download on PlayStation after it has been deployed. You will definitely be able to download it now as it has been deployed. I see about an hour and a half now. So yeah, if you haven't had a chance to check out the patch notes, that was all the patch notes. We kind of went through everything. If you guys have any questions, obviously you can always ask me questions about Path of Exile 2 over on the Discord. We do have a little chat area there where we discuss the game, and, share our builds and all that fun stuff. So, all right, that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching. Really enjoyed having everybody on for the live stream. We have lots of fun over there. So if you haven't had a chance to yet, check us out over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/SASS Entertainment. We do live streams and stuff there quite often. We've been playing some Tainted Grail and some Path of Exile 2 lately, and a bunch of other games in the works as well coming up over the next couple of weeks. And some new reviews coming out on YouTube as well, so keep an eye out for those. We've got the Avowed review that is still coming. Of course, we're going to have a Tainted Grail review for the 0.9 update, and of course a review for Atomfall coming very soon as well. I've got a bunch of other games in the works too, so keep an eye out for those. If you haven't yet, make sure you join the Discord. That's the best place to keep up to date on everything. And if you'd like to support the channel, we've got a bunch of different ways you can do that. You'll find all of that down in the description below. And that's it for us. My name is Sass, and this has been a Path of Exile 2 update. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time. Happy hunting, survivors.